When you throw your desires to the universe, pray to God for healing, or seek assistance from whatever force you believe in, it might take the form of a soul call. A soul call is akin to a distress signal or a plea for help, which happens at a soul level. Some signs that you're receiving a soul call include feeling as if you're falling in love, having the desire to help or relay a message, and not being able to shake thoughts of someone outside of your head. To answer a soul call, you must pass along a message that you feel you need to tell them or offer the assistance they seek. Before answering a soul call, it's best to confirm that it indeed is a soul call. It's also crucial for you to be cautious when answering them, because misunderstood soul calls, e.g., mistaking it for love, can lead to unnecessary conflicts. 7 signs that you're receiving a soul call. 1. Feeling a sudden, inexplicable sense of infatuation or love. If you feel a sudden infatuation or love for someone, but the emotions are rooted in a feeling of compassion or obligation to help, then you might be receiving a soul call. There are times when soul calls are mistaken for feelings of love. This feeling is mostly perceived when the soul call is at its strongest. The more desperate the caller is for help, the stronger the soul call will be. The apparent difference is that with a soul call, you'll feel a sense of sympathy and desire to aid the said person in whatever way possible. If you're genuinely in love, you'll establish a connection with someone on all levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. A soul call, on the other hand, is usually felt only on a spiritual level. 2. Always having a certain someone in your thoughts. Another sign that you're receiving a soul call is when a person comes to your mind out of nowhere, and you can't shake them out of your thoughts whatever you do. You might also feel the urge to communicate with them, know everything about them, and be near them. Sometimes, this feeling is even mistaken for obsession. 3. Having an intense desire to relay a message with no logical reason. Since a soul call is a call for help, one of its most telling signs is having an intense desire to convey a message of enlightenment, empowerment, or reassurance to someone. The message can be a piece of advice or a warning. This desire might be confusing to you because the urge to communicate comes out of the blue. You might not be close to this person, or you might not even know them at all, but the inclination of talking to them won't go away. 4. Feeling compassion and wanting to send support and comfort to someone. Similar to the desire to relay a message to someone, another sign of receiving a soul call is feeling compassionate towards them. You might feel the impulse to send your support or take a bold step and proceed to comfort them. Most often, those who answer soul calls are highly sensitive people, HSPs, empaths, or spiritual or psychic healers. 5. Receiving a telepathic call for help. Individuals that possess heightened psychic energy levels can send messages to another person through thoughts and feelings. This process is mostly referred to as telepathy. Soul calls are forms of prayers or wishes. People who receive soul calls are those who have the unique ability that can help the caller in their specific needs or concerns. 6. Desire to create or build something. When the universe relays a soul call, you might feel inspired to create, write, or build something for the development of society and to raise humanity's level of awareness. Your connection to the divine intelligence feels more intense than before, and ideas seem to flow through you with ease. 7. Feelings of impending doom. Sometimes soul calls come from your own soul. If you've been disconnected from your higher self for a while, your soul might send a distress signal, causing you to feel a sense of impending doom. You might even experience violent convulsions or have trouble sleeping. This is your inner being's attempt to reawaken and remind you to fulfill your soul's contract. How to answer a soul call. As previously mentioned, it's best to determine that what you're experiencing is a soul call before acting on it. Once you're confident that it's indeed a soul call, you can answer it by analyzing the situation firsthand. You should be able to recognize what the caller needs. Individuals have specific struggles that need special remedies or solutions. A caller might need heartfelt advice, reminder, caution, or assurance. There are times when soul calls require more than delivering a message. Some need help to get out of a dark place, while others need spiritual healing or companionship. Soul calls can also require helping someone stop or recover from a psychic attack. Once you're sure about the kind of assistance the caller needs, you can offer them help in a way that you feel is right. It might be uncomfortable for you, especially if it's your first time answering a soul call. However, you have to remember that a soul call is only formed because the caller needs help. The fact that you're receiving a soul call from someone means that you have the necessary means to aid them in whatever they're going through. The key to answering soul calls is trusting your feelings and your intuition. Some important things to know about soul calls. What a soul call is. Not because a soul call can make you go through many different emotions, like having the same feeling as falling in love. You might mistake it for something else. If you feel like you need to know everything about a person, or perhaps want to spend a lot of time with them, you might think that you're starting to catch feelings for this person. You might even start a relationship with them. The problem with mistaking a soul call for something else like love is the fact that it might cause you unnecessary problems or conflicts in the future. The signs that one is receiving a soul call mentioned above usually only last until the receiver was able to give the help the caller needs. Mistaking a soul call for love and diving into a relationship only to lose all the feelings initially felt after assisting the caller might be problematic for everyone involved. It's best to understand the nature of a soul call so one can correctly respond to it. Dealing with the fear of answering a soul call. As stated earlier, responding to a soul call might be overwhelming, confusing, or even frightening at first. Because you suddenly felt things with no apparent or logical reason, you might be hesitant and clueless on how to react. You have the urge to help, but you might also be feeling ridiculous or awkward because you have no idea whether the person you want to assist needs help in the first place. After all, giving unwarranted help or advice will make both parties uncomfortable. All these things might stop you from extending a helping hand. However, soul calls aren't random. Soul calls are prayers, wishes, and desires that people ask divine forces to grant them, and therefore answering and granting them is only natural. Benefits of answering a soul. Call. Everything in this universe needs to have a balance. Answering a soul call means you're extending a helping hand, and there's a possibility that you get caught in the moment and find yourself enslaved to the whole process of giving. To create a balance, therefore, answering a soul call should also bring you benefits, or at least positive effects. Because soul calls occur on a soul level, what you'll gain is a valuable experience in spiritual enrichment. You can look at answering soul calls as part of your spiritual journey. Soul calls can also work both ways. The caller might need you to say or do something for them, and at the same time, you might also need assistance from them. Soul calls like this are an opportunity for both parties to help each other grow spiritually. What you should be careful of when answering soul calls. There are times when a caller becomes obsessed with the person who helped them after getting the assistance they need. When a caller gets relieved of their burdens, there's a possibility that they will become dependent on their helper. Some individuals who respond to soul calls have a naturally comforting presence, and their caller might want to possess that energy by sucking it out of them. This obsession can be a full-blown psychic attack if not addressed immediately. Another thing to take note of is timing. There are times when the caller, despite being the one to initiate the soul call, is hardly ready to get the help they deserve. There's also a possibility that the circumstances of the caller suddenly changed. If such a thing happens, it's best to listen to your intuition. Your intuition will tell you what needs to be done. Who usually receives soul calls? More often than not, individuals who experience soul calls are empaths. An empath is an individual who can tune into the energies of people, animals, or environments through psychic means. Those who experience soul calls for the first time aren't even aware that they're empaths. Empaths are generally sensitive people. In this case, being sensitive pertains to being severely affected by everything and everyone around you. Some empaths are more on the emotional side. They experience other people's feelings as if it's their own. Other empaths can even feel the physical pain of others. Some empaths are more on the emotional side. They experience other people's feelings as if it's their own. Other empaths can even feel the physical pain of others. Some are more inclined to the energies of animals. Another type of empath is one who's not in tune with the energies of people, animals, or places, but the earth itself. They can sense when a major natural disaster is about to happen. Individuals who experience soul calls are usually emotional empaths. They can receive psychic information from others through thoughts, images, visions, or energies. Those who respond to soul calls are empaths who have an overpowering desire to help others. Some signs that you might be an empath. You're easily affected by strong smells, loud noises, or glaring lights. You're extremely uncomfortable when you're in crowded places such as malls, train stations, and the likes. You feel anxious, drained, or fatigued most of the time. You feel depressed and you can't explain why. You're aware of how other people feel even if they don't tell you. You know when someone is lying through their teeth. You can spiritually heal others. You're easily overwhelmed. People tend to open up to you and share their problems. You prefer to spend time alone. You're like a sponge that can absorb the energies in your immediate environment. Final thoughts. One can receive several soul calls at the same time because they're more common than we might expect. Experiencing a soul call can be overwhelming, and sometimes even frightening. Professional psychics on this website who specialize in soul work can help you in determining the nature of a soul call as well as knowing how to answer them.